show.
That will be the pre-show title. And welcome everyone to the spoiler room. Thank you for venturing down the stairs, pulling up a chair, and having a beverage with us as we are down to 4 last episodes of the year. Kind of bittersweet. And yeah, we last month was the last film that was picked, and that was a ninja film, the middle ninja film of the trilogy of canon ninja films. So I decided, why not do ninja fodder? Yes, that's right. Or did I call it ninja canon? I don't know. I called it something. Anyway, I think it was ninja canon. It's in the title, folks. I have no idea what I'm doing tonight. I'm living on 3 hours of sleep and 4 cups of pots of coffee. So
Yes.
yeah. So but all this month in December, I figured it was a perfect way to close out this year with all the canon films we've already talked about. Let's close it out with a block of canon films. So we are doing the Canon Ninja Trilogy plus the final movie that was theatrically released by the actual official canon group. And stay tuned later in the month. I'm not going to jinx it now, but we may even have a special crew member. And that's all I'm saying for the end of the month. It'll be a great way if we can work it out to close the month out. But tonight, speaking people with me, we are talking Enter the Ninja 1981 from Canon Group. And my right-hand man and friend, the man who keeps taking this journey with me. I have no idea. No, I don't have him locked in the basement somewhere. He does this voluntarily, folks. It is the one and only Mr. Ian Simmons. Hello, Ian. How are you, sir?
Doing great. I'm excited to talk about Enter the Ninja, mostly because I don't usually when you put these things out there, I just sign up. I'm like, whatever it is, I'll watch it. I'll talk about it. But I thought that these were going to be the Michael Dudikoff ninja movies.
Oh, no, these aren't American Ninja. No, these are before Dudikoff. These are pre-Dudikoff.
Right. And so I'm like all excited. And I press play. I'm like, Franco Nero? What the hell?
A badly dubbed Franco Nero.
I'm not even sure about that. I think that might just be the way
he's dubbed.
No, I just like to believe that that's the way he talks.
Just the way. Nope, that's just the way Nero talks. Nope, that's what Ian's going with, and that's his story. He's sticking to it. So, Ian, go ahead. Synopsis. Enter the Ninja.
There's a ninja. A modern day ninja. It's kind of a oh my gosh, what is the name of the ninja series that was on Netflix? The Marvel. I'm running about as much sleep and coffee as you are. But it was the one where like there was this big controversy because like a blonde white ninja and he was like had these powers and stuff.
I don't remember offhand. It
was the Marvel Netflix series that nobody liked.
Oh, you mean Iron Fist?
Iron Fist, yes. This is kind of like Iron Fist. He's this 40-year-old
40-year-old Franco Nero.
Yeah, studying abroad in, I guess, Japan, learning the arts of the ninja. Yes. And he finishes his training, and then he goes off to the Philippines to visit his friend Frank and Frank's wife Marianne, who they own a coconut plantation.
Yeah, it's a coconut plantation. Yeah.
And it's, it's not the plantation like you usually think of. It's a positive, like everybody loves each other and they all get along great, and I guess. But the problem is there's these local gangster guy who wants to buy the land to develop it, and he's trying to muscle Frank and his wife out of their land and, using some intimidation tactics. But, Cole, our Franco Nero character, shows up and, kind of saves the day by kicking some ass. And that's pretty much it. Yeah. If you can't guess what happens by looking at the poster, I just have one thing to say, and that's welcome to the movies.
Yes, welcome to the movies. 1981, Enter the Ninja. Canon wanted to get into the martial arts game, And yes, folks, tonight I will be bringing up facts from the Canon Film Guide, Volume 1, 1980 to 1984, Austin Trunick, author. Yeah, I'm still plugging that and shilling that because there's a whole chapter on all three ninja films. Each gets their own chapter. And
oh my gosh.
And this one I read up on it. And we're talking early canon, and it's wild, the story of canon, and why, if you ever wonder why people just get psyched about canon films and why there's this fascination, because in the early 80s, canon actually had some surprising success with some of their stuff. Enter the Ninja was one of them.
Really?
Enter the Ninja was successful, but not only that, you can thank all the ninja movie spin-offs and the craze that you saw through the 80s and in the 90s has been attributed to this film. Canon was a trendsetter because until Canon came along, ninja was not coming to America audiences. The ninja character, the ninja as we know it, with the the Sozoku, I hope I pronounced it right, the Suzoku outfit and everything, for ninja and how they look. You really hadn't gotten that in American cinema, like and actually released in American, until Enter the Ninja. And it boggled people's minds. I mean, this opening of this movie, Ian, was fantastic. I love the fact it features ninja doing ninja things and not so ninja things. But did you not like the opening to this film?
Just to clarify, I didn't freeze. I just was frozen in disbelief.
I know.
Well, first of all, I just want to say I like your setup there, and I like to think that when a cannon comes along, you must kick it.
Kick it.
Sorry.
Yeah, there you go. Nice. I like it.
Thank you. No, it's something to do while the credits are opening. Like, it's just a guy. It's Hasugawa, I guess his name is. Just doing like ninja things. He's got the nunchucks and the sighs, and I was sitting there sighing a lot while I was watching this. But because here's the thing, it's unless you're. I never really went in for the ninja thing. This is going to sound strange. Clothed ninjas, like clothed martial artists. I like the Bruce Lee model where you can see like they're shirtless and you can see all the tone and the rippedness. So when they're doing the stuff with the nunchucks, there's a scene where Franco Nero in this movie is shirtless. He's out on his friend's front lawn, like in the morning doing stuff with nunchucks. And then Marianne drives by in the Jeep and says good morning. He's almost like embarrassed. Like, what? Huh? But I just like to see that. When I'm watching this opening, it just seems kind of goofy because he's just against like a black screen doing ninja stuff. And I just remembered me and my friends, probably inspired by stuff that was inspired by this movie when we were 12, doing ninja stuff. Like, I have no idea if he's good or not, if he's skilled or if he can just like whip stuff around. I did like that at the very end when it comes with the directed by Menachem Golan, the white clad ninja jumps into frame and kicks the guy.
yeah.
And then it picks up
like from there. Yeah.
Right. But they're in like a mountainous area and they're actually fighting each other. Like, what happened to the black screen? But I have to say, was fascinating. This movie came out the same year as Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yes.
And they have the same opening, but in reverse order. Did you catch this? Raiders starts with Indy in the temple with the little head sitting on this platform, and then he gets chased out and there's people like coming after him, and then it ends with him like in this mountainous areas with like kind of a field, and then there's like a river and stuff. He gets to the plane to safety. In this, you start off in this mountainous area. There's a river behind them. There's a fight scene. All these people start coming after him, and eventually Franco Nero ends up in this. You could call it a temple. It's more like the dojo, but there's a little fucking golden platform sitting in front at the front of the room, and the old man comes in and places a head on the platform.
Well, it's because it's a bad dummy head. I love this movie. There's 13 minutes with no dialogue. It opens with the white ninja Franco Nero taking on ninjas in the woods. There's no dialogue. It just open. You don't get a lot of action films like this that give you a 13-minute action sequence where your guy's going through laying waste to a bunch of literal red shirts. They're ninjas, red shirts, and one guy in black played by Kosugi, who by the time this came out on VHS, he was a big star, but no one really knew him. But that guy, there's an interesting story in this book that, right here, that they give a little bit of backstory about his character, which is fascinating. It literally is like something out of a martial arts film. He's like a kid. He gets trained by an old mentor. Literally, it's seriously, this is the guy that plays the not Nemesis, but the Hasagawa.
No, he's a Nemesis.
I guess he's a Nemesis, yeah. But so he's chasing him with a bunch of red shirts, and we see Nero. He cuts guys' throats. He pulls a bow and arrow out of nowhere. Like, this bow and arrow literally manifests out of nowhere. He shoots a couple guys, and then it disappears again.
It's not as surprising because when they get back to that, dojo area, and they start doing the things with the hands. I'm gonna butcher it, but it's like the 9 powers of the ninja. And one of them I wrote down too: mastery of time and space and knowing the thoughts of others. So these really are like MCU ninjas.
they are.
So when you say, where'd that bow and arrow come from? I don't know, but he's a ninja, so he can do that, I guess.
He pulled it from his inventory. He grabbed the menu and picked it from his menu inventory, and it manifested. But yeah, he goes through this whole action sequence. You like throwing a star, and it sticks in this guy's face. He slits another guy's throats. He stabs another guy. Another guy gets bow and arrowed. His nemesis is chasing him through. They literally both jump off of a waterfall. He goes to this compound, jumps through flames, takes out another guy, spares the guy in black, his nemesis, then goes up to, and this is dedicated to Mr. Derek Carey, goes up to the porch where the older, wiser gentleman who's just observing all this, and suddenly cuts his head off, and then goes into the dojo and starts meditating. And you're like, what? You got this like 13-minute action sequence. And then while he's there, the guys that he supposedly kill show up and they sit along either side of him. And then the old guy, who must have been through ninja magic, must have swapped himself with a dummy.
Yeah.
And he shows up with the dummy head. And I'm just like, what?
The thing, like, it all comes back to Franco Nero.
It does.
Yeah. Last week, when we talked about, was it Megaforce?
No, it's Future Force.
Future Force, yeah. Megaforce was that was the All of the Beast, yeah. Mega Future, and I described David Carradine in that movie as being the personification of beer.
Yes.
There's something about Franco Nero and the fact that he's 40 years old. He's so perfect for this role, but he's also kind of wrong for it, because like he just looks, it's like the early 80s porn stash, and this constant look of like he's embarrassed or he doesn't know if he should have these powers. He looks constantly confused and out of place. I'm like, he's not Jean-Claude Van Damme. This should have been a Jean-Claude Van Damme vehicle.
It should have been. I mean, it's way before its time.
Right.
And what's funny is, again, folks, I'm going to be quoting the book all night. You should get Austin's book. Anyway, there's some great tidbits in there. Now, originally, Mike Stone, who is a world karate champion and was friends with Kosugi, who plays the nemesis, he was actually cast in the film. It was his script initially that Canon picked up because they wanted to get in the martial arts scene. So this world karate champion, Mike Stone, was going to be our man Cole, up until Golan said, we need someone with more star power and acting. He ran across Franco Nero in a cafe and signed him. Never mind, Nero is a Western star who's never had any martial arts experience. So then Mike Stone stayed on to do the martial arts choreography, and pretty much everything that Nero is in the mask it's Mike Stone, where he doesn't remove the mask. It's pretty much Mike Stone doing that.
Wow.
Because you could tell when there's the parts when Nero doesn't have his mask on and he's doing martial arts in quotes, these stuntmen sell it like wrestlers in a ring. Okay. they just so yeah, I mean, we get this wild opening sequence, and then he's made ninja, which of course offends his nemesis, building up that rivalry. And he goes visits his friend, who instead of knocking on the door, he jumps over the fence and then is surprised by the guy's wife holding a shotgun to him.
And then he literally kicks her in the ass. Like, okay, this isn't one of the things I love about Franco Nero in this movie is, well, the movie is so all over the place tonally, because at times it's this action adventure, at times it's sort of a intimidating dramatic martial arts movie, and then it dives headfirst into comedy. Yeah. And he's like a funny Chuck Norris throughout a lot of this movie.
Yes. And the characters they run across too. There's a character called Dollars he eventually meets up with, who I love. Dollars. He's this guy that runs this thrift store that will sell you out of his jacket on one side porn pictures, and on the other side, what is it? Crucifixes. Yeah.
Now, speaking of Chuck Norris, he reminded me of M. Emmett Walsh's character from the Missing in Action movies. Mm-hmm. But what I don't have the actor's name because I'm on the computer that I usually have to bring up my IMDb. But the actor who played Dollars, 4 years after this, he would show up in Back to the Future. Yep. He was the old farmer. Looks like an airplane without wings.
Will Hare is his name, and yeah, he's the one that shoots the mailbox, basically. And
in 1984, Silent Night, Deadly Night. He played the old grandpa guy that the little kid went to visit in the old folks' home and creeped everybody out.
In the wheelchair.
Now he's playing Dollars. Yeah,
he's playing Dollars. This porn / crucifix vendor who ends up being kind of the Emmett Walsh sidekick to Franco Nero. Talk about an odd pairing. And Nero character Cole, of course, he's in the town. And if you followed any martial arts films, you have the small village. So, of course, you have the guy looking for protection. We've got a guy named The Hook. Guess why he's called The Hook?
Because he's really into prostitution? No.
He's got a hook for a hand.
What?
What?
What I loved, because there's so much in this movie that reminded me of Kickboxer.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
That scene where the Hook is shaking down the guy, the little market guy. In Kickboxer, there's a scene where this guy is shaking down a little market guy. Just waited for Franco Nero to go over there and have Marianne say, "It's okay," and he'll go, "No, it's not." But I did love that when Marianne and Cole are driving through the village, they come upon Pee-wee, who is one of the plantation workers. I guess he's like an underboss or something. He's getting beaten up by some of the thugs. They pull the Jeep over, and you see Franco Nero leave the Jeep, and the next time you see him, he's flying into frame from a downward angle, kicking a guy in the face. I'm like, where did he come from? So good.
And yes, I did see the documentary, Robert, and we just mentioned that earlier that Nero was the last bit of casting because Galan wanted someone else. So yeah, who cares if he's got experience? But yeah, he sells it well. He sells it the best he can for a 40-year-old Western star in a martial arts film.
Yeah.
What I find hilarious. Oh, Ian, you know what? I'm glad you're here. Let's have a cockfight. But we don't have chickens, so that'd be awkward. But anyway,
well, we can still do that. I don't know if we could do that while we're live streaming, but
not on YouTube anyway.
Yeah. No, we're not quite Jeffrey Tubin level, but no, there is a scene where he announces a cockfight. He's so enthusiastic about it. It's like cockfight. I'm like, oh wow.
There's 2 instances where they decide to have a cockfight with their roosters, but the second one is the one where you're talking about where Pee-wee gets beat up because it gets broken up because they just start having a fight because Cole's buddy who owns this plantation, these guys want to muscle him out. They want the land because we eventually find out Hook works for a Bond villain reject. He could have been Bond, a Bond villain, but he didn't quite make the cut. But he still does the twirly mustache. He's working for a big corporation who wants this land for oil. Go figure, oil. Yeah, and so that's why they want the land. And Cole's buddy won't sell because his wife wants the money, the land. Now, granted, Cole's buddy, he has had some trouble with his wife as of late. Frank, in that he's fallen into the bottle because of the pressure of trying to sell his land. And at one point, he shares with his friend that his wife wants it all the time. I kid you not, folks. This is a conversation that these 2 gentlemen have. He says, my wife wants it all the time, but I just can't get it up anymore. Well, our hero can. Yeah.
Well, in that scene, I don't know. Are you noticing a bit of a slowdown or a delay, Mark?
Not too much. No.
Okay. I'm seeing like you're moving a little slow motion. As long as it's not on your end, I'm fine. But no, there's a scene in the bar. Yeah, you're right. And Frank looks, first of all, there's too many like wide shots of Frank in this movie, and he looks just like James Caan in The Godfather. It was so distracting. I just kept waiting for him to like go to a toll booth and get riddled full of bullets. But no, that scene at the bar, you're absolutely right. He's like, I'm just impotent, and she wants it all the time. And the camera focuses on Franco Nero. He's got this 1,000-yard stare. He's like, And
literally the next scene, he's in bed reading with his shirt off, and Marianne, the wife, shows up in a negligee, crawls into bed with him, and he turns the lamp off, and well, we fade to black into the next day, where they have this awkward meal around the table with their buddy Frank as they've done the deed.
And it's strange because this keeps coming back up in the movie. It comes back up a couple of times that Frank suspects that he knows what happened, but he's also upset about it. But he's also upset that he's upset, I guess, because he kind of understood that this was why they did it, because he can't perform. I didn't understand. I was like, this needs its whole movie to work out these people's issues.
You need a whole other movie to work out the issues, but you won't get that here. You just get more Nero taking out guys because after our man Cole has dispatched a number of henchmen, the supervillain in his high rise with his pool full of lovely ladies that he's teaching how to synchronize swim. He offers Frank 7 figures. Okay, we're talking 1981. He's 7 figures. And while they're talking about this, Cole is going around taking out cards a la ninja style, though he's not dressed like a ninja. So when we get to the confrontation, he shows up with all these assault guns and dumps them down at the feet of the negotiator. And then another fight ensues. But Okay.
That was an odd move. Like, yeah, you take out all the guards, and then you just literally dump this cache of weapons at the feet of the guy who's threatening you. I didn't understand that move,
Well,
but
well,
it's
and
Franco Nero. I'll let it go.
it's Franco here. Well, not only that, but they got Dollars enlisted because, as we mentioned, Dollars is his sidekick. Dollars goes up into a top of this ruins where they're at on this wall and sniper. Now he's one guy with a machine gun. Cole's taken about half their guards. So when they say no, I don't want the money, the back half of the guards who didn't get taken out show up. They have many guns. Dollars
Yeah,
has one gun.
but he
Cole
has the
doesn't
high.
have any guns.
No, but Dollars has the high ground, which, if you remember your Revenge of the Sith,
Star
that's the only that's important.
Yeah, that's right. That's important. Even still, I'm sitting here going, they decide to play it honorably and put their guns down and go after the guy who's already taken out half their forces hand to hand and beaten the shit out of everybody twice already. These aren't the brightest henchmen. Okay.
But no, I don't think it's so much that. It's just the power of the ninja, especially in the hands of our Cole, is so strong. I saw something in this film that I've never seen in any movie ever, and I wrote it down and put a little star next to it. In the scene where they're taking out the henchmen, they're sneaking up on everybody. There's a bit where Cole gets up onto a roof, and there's a guy standing there, watching guard. Cole comes up behind him, chops him or something, but he basically throws him off the roof.
Yeah.
He falls without making a sound. Now, I've never seen someone fall off a roof in a movie without going, ah! This guy falls like a ninja would fall to his death. No sound whatsoever. That's how good Cole/Franco Nero is.
Yes. He can toss a guy and even have him not make a sound.
Amazing.
Well, what's even funnier is, him taking out these guys. Like I said, these guards are clueless. I mean, he just, they do the kind of cartoonish thing where all of a sudden the guy's standing there, and all of a sudden he just whoop disappears, or whoop he just, or the one move hit because they're the minor boss. They're not even bosses. They're just the henchmen guys.
There's a scene. Well, there's one where a guy gets like yanked down onto the ground, and then like the second after you see him fall out of the frame, there's like 2 or 3 cracking sounds. I'm like, what's going on down there?
I wouldn't ask.
Cole does know ninja magic. I will acknowledge that, Lee. Thank you.
We have it here. Robert mentioned that he saw a clip that Galan spoke of the ninja films as modern westerns. And yeah, you do have the white dressed ninja and the black dressed ninja. So the white hat versus black hat thing going on, I guess. And since you do have Nero in here, there's your western. What's funny is they show nunchucks. Nunchucks are not the tool of the ninja. Golan wanted nunchucks. Why? Because Bruce Lee had nunchucks.
Yeah.
After Bruce Lee unfortunately passed, there was that surge of interest in martial arts, and this is Golan and Cannon trying to hop on that hype train, and and giving us the Nero ninja character. And yeah, as Lee said, Cole knows ninja magic. He does know ninja magic because he does the hand thing, and then he goes. We get near the end, folks, and I know we're jumping around, but this film isn't exactly deep, but it follows your normal formula. But what's interesting is we don't get a lot of him in his ninja outfit until like near the very end. And Ian, I want to know, I found this hilarious. He goes through, they sneak into the tower with the main villain, and Dollars helps by offering the guards porn. Which, if you're going to distract someone, hey, look, porn. But so they sneak in, and he takes out half the guards, and then they find this reel of his nemesis from his school. And we come to find out we got a scene where the smarter henchman, as it's put in the book, goes to Japan to hire him to take on Cole. And in this wonderful like presentation, like he hops into the doorway. Kosugi's character, Hasegawa, hops into the doorway, does a few moves, then he hops out of the doorway. Then he comes back with a weapon and he shows some weapon. And then it had me laughing.
It reminded me of the opening of the movie, like when he's just like standing there doing all this stuff. And when he leaves, he just kind of like walks out and he eventually reappears through a side door, like crouching. But I'm just like, I get the feeling he's like, yeah, it's the 5th time I've had to do this little audition dance today. Thanks, boss.
Can't we just show photos?
I want to get back to.
Go ahead.
Well, no, he's got to know. He's got to know what he's getting into. But I want to go back to that building scene where Cole and Dollars infiltrate. Dollars goes off to show these 2 guards at the front door the porn, and then Cole comes in and does this amazing thing where he like does this. What did I call it? I wrote this down. I don't know where it is, but it's a group hug charge, because he like runs at them, gets all 3 men in a group hug, and then rushes them into the elevator. And then of course it cuts to the elevator opening on the top floor, and like Cole and Dollars are dressed in the guy's clothes, and you see they're all in the underwear. But it was like this amazing thing. You don't see any like punches really. You just see like this group hug, and they rush and they disappear in the elevator. It's a wonderful bit of theater. And I did love the fact that Dollars finds a projector, and this is just the world he lives in. He finds a projector in this high rise, and he thinks, "Oh, it's porno movies." And he turns it on. No, it's basically like Hasegawa's. Well, it's Hasegawa's demo reel being played out.
Which was very well produced, which was supposed to be like a candid footage.
Not so much, but okay, Mr. Kimura, I think that's the master. And he's like the old kind master who trained Cole and gave him his ninja badge or whatever and sent him off into the world. And we're led to believe that even though he knows that Hasegawa is a problem, he's not going to loan him out as an assassin for hire. But Parker, who's the underling, is sent out to find a ninja, someone who can stop Cole, goes to Kimura and says, yeah, sure, I'm just going to use your highly trained ninja assassin for the forces of good. But there's no like conversation like, oh, really? Could you please describe the problem? You're just like, no, just trust me. Here's some money.
Here's some money. It's all good. It's here you go. All good. Yeah. Not
I do like Lee. No, I do like Lee's comment down here. I want to see a mashup now of Franco Nero in a Western as a ninja, Ninjango.
Ninjango.
Yes, because he was Django and now he's a ninja, so he could be Ninjango.
Ninjango.
Beautiful.
Ninjango. I love it. He could still wear the hat, but he'd have like the ninja outfit. He'd have the shozoku, but he'd have the hat, like the
and
he'd have a gun
and also
nunchucks and a sai. He'd have a gun and a sai.
No, even better. Well, you got gunchucks.
Gunchucks. Oh my God, gunchucks. That should be that. I don't think I've ever seen gunchucks, but now I want to. Now I want to bad to where, and then you go like this, like a shotgun, like it's like a zip gun, and you just like pow, and then there you go. You could do it.
Cannon's coming back, and we're starting it right here.
That's right.
But no. I like that the idea here is that it's not going to be a spaghetti Western. It's going to be a ramen noodle Western.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes.
Nice. That's Now I want ramen noodles. I like ramen noodles, but
I do too. I had them as a snack today. Yeah.
So our hero, let's put it this way, is he's slept with his he slept with his buddy's wife. Okay, he's taken out like all these guards. He's supposed to be the good guy. He goes after the bad guy, and this is I love this final showdown because they've hired his nemesis. He realizes they've hired his nemesis, or have put together that they've hired his nemesis. So he gets all dolled up, and he goes back again to the high rise to fight people until he comes up against Peters, the second-hand man, who said, "Oh, yeah, we knew you were here. Sure, we'll negotiate," because they've kidnapped his buddy's wife and killed his buddy. Because once Hasegawa shows up, let me backtrack. Hasegawa shows up in town, immediately goes to work. He infiltrates the compound of his buddy, the farm, the plantation, takes out the guards with ease, either with the comb / tiger claw, or whatnot. And then he goes after Cole's buddy, who comes out with a bat against a ninja. So you know how that's gonna go. So he comes out with that. Of course, he dies. Hasegawa kidnaps the wife. We have that romantic connection with our hero and his buddy's wife, who now is single. And so he goes after the bad guy. There we go. Now we're caught up. My brain, ran on a different rail.
Well,
and that's where he takes out all the guards.
You did miss the part where Husagawa? Yeah, Husagawa. When he's taking out Frank, Marianne is tied up to a big palm tree. Frank is like running to her. Hasegawa takes a throwing star and throws it and misses. What kind of ninja is that?
Yeah.
And the second star makes contact, and then nice neck slit and everything. And I genuinely was kind of moved when Cole shows up and finds Frank lying, swimming dead in the pool, and he has this war flashback. You can see him like getting emotional and stuff because they're talking about like the war is over. What are you gonna do? I'm gonna find a nice lady and settle down and all this other stuff. It's really kind of nice. Contrast this, and we haven't talked a whole lot about the comedy in this movie, but earlier on, when there's like another showdown with Hook Hand Man, which I'm glad he was kind of taken out as a villain midway through the movie. Not killed, but at one point, Cole rips his hook hand off, throws it at him several yards, and there's a genuine wah, 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 wah on the soundtrack. I'm like, what even is this movie? I have no idea, but I'm all in.
Yeah, well, because he rips the hook off, and then it's a bloody hook too. I mean, this hook was like seriously attached to the hook's arm. This is not like he put it over an appendage. It was like attached to, like severely attached when our hero ripped the hook off, because it's bleeding and everything. And yeah, we get the wah wah trombone. So yeah, you have that comedy. You have. Yeah, it's just you just don't know what you're watching and where it's gonna go, because you think you've got the formula down, but then you have him going after to rescue the woman, and he gets to the second in command, who says, "Oh, you didn't have to take out half the guards. We know you're coming." I loved how he said that. Yeah, I'll take you to him. I'll take you to the boss. You didn't have to like kill like half my guys.
Well, that's the other thing that was kind of weird, because as much as I think Franco Nero is cool, Cole as a character is not that easy to root for, because he slept with his best friend's wife and never even like really talked about it. And then also when he's going into this high rise to go after, I keep wanting to call him Vesuvius, but it's Venerius.
Venerius disease. Yeah.
Right. He's killing, like he kills the guy who's like the receptionist, like at the front desk. He's killing like regular. Right. He's also killing just like people guarding like the elevator. And this kind of goes back to some of the missing in action stuff we talked about, where aside from the military, who are all, very obviously evil, people, the people in the village, like the prostitutes and all this other stuff, there's nothing sexy about it, because you realize these are poor people just like doing what they can to survive. And it's kind of the same thing. Venarius in the middle of the Philippines has this giant like Nakatomi Plaza skyscraper that everybody is probably, falling all over themselves to get a job at, and they just get taken out by this middle-aged white ninja.
This middle-aged white ninja who isn't exactly stealthy going through the building. I mean, being a ninja, you would think he would try to avoid the guards and not necessarily have to expend all of his weapons, killing every single person he runs across, even though he's going to go rescue his woman. You would think that he was going to, be stealth-like, a ninja, but no, he's more like a bull in a china shop, to where he's just literally just killing anybody who crosses his path, the janitor or whatever. Oh, you're here, you're a bad guy. Only to find out, oh, you didn't have to kill everyone. We would have taken it to the boss. Lee, before we get to this finale, Lee did mention they did do Shanghai Noon. So there's Kung Fu in the Old West. So now we have ninjas versus cowboys, which I think actually is a movie. I'm not quite sure.
They did Cowboys versus Aliens, but they do need to do Ninja versus Cowboys.
Yeah, that would definitely be interesting. Though I have seen a number of films that have had ninjas fighting cowboys. It just wasn't called Ninja versus Cowboys. Hey, and we lost all of our audience. There you go. No.
Oh.
Because it's been a bit schizophrenic tonight. But yeah, I mean, so he goes to this final. This is the first time ever I've seen a guy or anybody in a ninja outfit ride shotgun in a car. Because the secondhand guy says, "Hey, I'll take you to the boss." And you think maybe, okay, we'll take you downstairs or to someplace, nearby. But they hop in a car and drive through town to the cockfight arena. And you have this ninja sitting in the car, and it just looked weird. I'm like,
it did look weird, because I just don't think, I have a hard time imagining Cole just saying like, I'll go with you and I'll ride in the back, like passenger seat. And there was no like guards on him with like guns trained at his head or anything like that. It's just like getting an Uber to the bad guy's lair.
He literally got an Uber in his ninja outfit. And then he shows up, and then the second in command goes in and tells the boss, "Oh, hey, I've got him here," and then comes out and is surprised when all of the guards around the door are annihilated.
That was a nice scene, because I feel like there were more people when they discover the bodies. There's like 3 times more people there than when he went upstairs.
There's like 3 guys guarding the door to the cockfight place, but when he comes out, there's like a dozen guys knocked out on the floor and hanging out of the car and whatnot. They're like, "Oh no!" Meanwhile, our villain Venarius, who, like I said, spends a lot of his time yelling and wishing he was in a Bond film, he literally yells at one point, "Where's my black ninja? I want my black ninja now." It's his exact words, folks. Because Hasegawa is disappeared. Meanwhile, Cole annihilates nearly everybody in the arena. And the boss, you would think, okay, the boss isn't going to get finished off right away. He's first going to fight Hasegawa. But no. Ian, what happens to Darius? The guy who we've built up like as the main villain through this whole thing, like 15 minutes before the end of the film. He gets killed. He gets a star to the head.
He does. I mean, he does have, for as much as he's, kind of a pathetic villain. First of all, the actor, and I don't have his name handy, but he was also in the movies Pieces and City of the Living Dead. So like, where do I know this guy from? So he's great, and he chews scenery with the best of them. And
Oh, he
like as
does.
his henchmen keep falling, just like falling to the wayside, you can see him like ducking, even when there's nobody around in his personal vicinity. He's ducking as if he's hiding behind dudes. But when he gets the star to the chest, it feels like it's like a serving plate size star. Like I feel like Franco Nero threw a regular star when it made contact. It like took up his whole chest. But when he dies, he had the weirdest expression. He was just like, eh, and then he falls over.
He literally goes, eh, and he falls over dead. It's hilarious. Oh my! I'm like, why should I be? I shouldn't be laughing. This is like the almost climax of the film, because Hasagawa's just been hiding with Marianne this whole time somewhere. He's using ninja magic as well. But yeah, he's got that look when he dies. And I think the star growing was big because it was kind of like that Superman in Superman 2, where he throws the S and it grows bigger and it wraps around. It's kind of like that, only he throws a regular ninja star and then it just grows in size and then tags the main boss, kind of like.
Can we talk about some of these other deaths when he's going around killing the other henchmen leading up to the boss fight? First of all, I noticed the score in this movie is very odd because during some of the action scenes, reminded me of the fight scenes from the original Harry Manfredini's score from the original Friday the 13th, like the scenes where Alice was fighting Mrs. Voorhees. That kind of like, I'm not going to do it, but like that kind of like big kind of trombone and violin stuff going on. At one point, I think it's when Cole is in the compound, they even go to like he's doing stealth modes, like a kind of like a yeah, like there's a lot of Friday the 13th in this score is very odd. But when he's murdering the henchmen, he gets really creative. Like he takes there's two guys in a hallway. He takes a couple of sides and throws them out. They both get him in the stomach. They both fall over this beautiful choreographed death. There's another guy. He takes like a handful of like little ninja throwing stars and throws them, and it's like just like pellets the guy, like turns him into Pinhead, but with ninja stars.
Well, yeah, because he threw it backwards too. He grabs it and he throws it backwards, so he doesn't even look at the guy. He's just got his handful of little mini like jacks of death, and he throws them back, and he just the guy gets all stabbed with them. He gets really creative with his deaths. We've got some comments here. I would love that. They needed a scene. Lee says they needed a scene where Cole is in his ninja gear in an elevator with the girl from Ipanema playing. I that would be awesome.
Be there for that.
And Robert says David Carradine did play Kane in one of those Kenny Rogers Gambler miniseries. So there you go.
Really?
Wow. Don't know which chapter. Now that's a hell of a crossover. And then he also stated, Kurt Russell does hurl something that resembles a star to the head of one of the Duke's underlings in Escape from New York. Oh, yeah. I mean, this film, for as ridiculous as it is, and the fact that it's canon, you look at this thing and you realize how so many movies afterwards tried to mimic a lot of this stuff, including canon later on with their American Ninja series with Michael Dudikoff. Which I almost want to see this film remade with Michael Dudikoff now. But Nero does well. But
they need to remake American Ninja, which I haven't seen, with Franco Nero. I just want to see him in everything.
You just want to see Franco Nero and everything. Yeah, because he's got charisma. He's got a presence on the screen, regardless of his somewhat martial arts ability, which you could tell that, Mike Stone, mad props for staying on the film, because not only is he choreographing things, he's playing the stunt double for Nero. That's why those scenes look really good. And Nero, when he doesn't have the mask, not so much. But, just mad props for him for stepping aside, still being part of this project for the bigger star, who definitely he makes the most of it. You can tell Nero's having fun, but at the same time, he's out of his element a little bit with this movie. but he gives it his all because he's that type of actor, and we're better off for it because we just get this wonderful scene at the end. Especially we get his showdown with, you know, his nemesis, with Marianne, who, you know, could have ran away. Hasegawa and Cole are ready to fight, and she had the opportunity to run, but she doesn't. She sticks around because, I don't know, you know, hey, let's see how this plays out. I just, you know, I don't get
Well,
that part.
well, what I thought was kind of cool is that Hasegawa, you know, they're in this arena. They've got these kind of gates, you know,
Yeah,
entry and exit gates. Even though he's got Marianne hostage, he lets her go. Like he opens,
he walks her out. Yeah,
like kind of holds the gate for her. She walks away, and I think he kind of steps aside and does some kind of a gesture to suggest that he's not going to like stab her in the back as she's walking out the gate or something like that. It's an honorable, you know, fight, and I I appreciated that.
well, because they pushed earlier that he prided himself as being old school warrior. He holds to the honor code and that, so he's not just going to
Mm-hmm.
kill her for no reason, as much as it is she's basically used as a pawn, you know, as a way to weaken his opponent. He still will not harm her because he's very honorable, which shows up later on in this fight that they have. You know, it's an interesting fight that they have. I mean, our hero doesn't have complete plot armor. He does get hurt in
Yeah,
here.
it gets a nice slash across the leg, which is kind of, you got to have that.
Yeah, you know, so he gets a slash on the leg. He gets hurt, but of course, he's going to win, and we get the old "give me an honorable death," and so he cuts Hasegawa's head off.
And Marianne is up in the rafters. She watches this whole thing.
Yeah.
And the look on her face, the expression doesn't change from the time that Cole raises the sword to the time we see the dummy head on the mat. I knew right then how this movie was going to end. And it ends with Cole leaving the compound, and he's like, "Are you sure you won't change your mind?" And in her head, I'm like, there's no fucking way I'm going with this guy. I just watched him behead someone. I don't care if it was to save me or whatever, but if this guy can do that, plus he, you know, cheated on me with my husband.
She, you know, she's got her crew back anyway for the coconut plantation, which she now knows has oil. So later on, she could play that card later if she really wants to, and get out of the coconut harvesting business and go into oil.
That's true. and even coconut oil. Oh, real quick, I forgot to mention Franco Nero was great. We talked about him only a few weeks ago when we were talking about Force 10 from Navarone.
Yeah, he was in that as well. I didn't even plan it that way. I was like, oh, and then I remember seeing that. I'm
Sure
like,
you
oh
didn't.
yeah, I did not. It just, these things are the crazy coincidences that happen here in the spoiler room where we get these connections. I still blame Kevin Bacon, so I still blame Kevin Bacon for that, because ever since we've had the 52 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, we find all kinds of connections between our movies that we cover here.
I blame Kevin Bacon and this show for the fact that I can't think of Kevin Bacon without thinking about The Woodsman, and I keep making all these connections, not just to Kevin Bacon, but I keep connecting movies to The Woodsman.
Robert says, wasn't there a character named Hasegawa in a Kurosawa film? There might have been, or something similar. I looked up Hasegawa and I didn't see anything outside of Enter the Ninja, but there might have been one similar to it. But I'm not too familiar with the Kurosawa characters in their films. But
I think Kurosawa actually got name dropped in this movie when Parker went to go look for like ninjas, and he talked to that agent who like represented movie
Yes.
stars. It's like, oh yeah, this person worked for Kurosawa. Also, I want to point out, Enter the Ninja has, I believe, the distinction of being one of the only films in movie history whose name is the exact same as the porn parody of it.
Oh, really?
Well, I don't know that for sure, but I'm pretty sure it has to be true.
If not, it is now. Thanks a lot. And yes, Nero's appearance did show up in Die Hard 2, which is a Christmas movie, Fight Me, as the Noriega guy on the plane. That was Franco Nero. Yeah, I remember that. So,
Whoa, I gotta watch Die. I've not watched Die Hard 2 in probably 30 years, but now knowing that, I just gotta see everything that Franco Nero's been in, because now I'm
yeah.
officially a fan.
And that's the thing is, Franco Nero for Lee said, "Enter the Ninja 2 balls deep." Wow. Oh, wow. This show is just all over the place tonight, folks. I am sorry.
It's a different kind of star, is all I'm saying.
It's a
Anyway.
different kind of throwing star. Wow. I have no idea.
Hey, Mark, Iron Fist indeed.
It is, I'm sure, yeah, ironic there is a porn parody given that what Canon began as. That's true, Robert. I mean, you know, the Happy Hooker series, so and many other films. And Lee never
this
claimed
movie,
to be a classy guy.
Well, this movie also has a happy guy with a hook.
It does have a happy guy with a hook, so Happy Hooker. Yeah. I guess that is technically a happy hooker. But Franco Nero, he's having fun in this film. He's got the charisma. He carries this film. I think if they would have had anyone else play the out of mask ninja hero, I don't think this film would quite appeal as much as Nero, because Nero brings that experience on the screen, tries his best to see martial arts. I chuckled when we got to the nunchuck scene you mentioned earlier. I just laughed because he gets this look on his face like, he looks so serious, like he's really into it. And all I could think of was, what, don't strain that, you know, your back there. You might hurt something, Franco. And, you know, badly dubbed audio all the way around. But at the end, folks, there's a bookend to this film. We talked about the odd tone and the humor and how you've got ninja, and then you got this stuff about the impotent buddy, and then you've got death, and you've got all these fights. And then at the very end, he's chosen not to stay with the woman. He's heading back to the States, and he gets out of the car, and you have the hook guy shows up who says, "Oh, do you need a porter?" And then realizes who it is. And he's like, because Cole mentioned to Dollars, who's now his chauffeur, you know, ninjas don't just kill for no reason. And then once he sees the hook, he goes, "Well, there's always an exception to the rule." And then he looks at the camera and winks.
And you know what? That is a total Death Wish ending. Because it's just like when Paul Kersey goes to the airport and he sees the people mugging or whatever. Yeah, he goes right at that. But I got a slight correction, Mark. The line is, "A true ninja doesn't kill, he eliminates." That is a Chuck Norris worthy line. Yes, oh my God. I want that on a t-shirt. I want that on a t-shirt with the shirtless Franco Nero with the nunchucks going.
That is a t-shirt you could sell a lot of shirts to, I think. Robert, just to let you know, I have not seen a credit for Nero's voice who dubbed it. I just know that it was dubbed because they wanted him to have a more Texan accent rather than Italian. I don't know necessarily why, but you know, whatever.
It was more of a Franco-American accent, which is to say, canned spaghetti. Nice. Sorry.
Well, we're just recent fans of Franco Nero there, Robert. He was in Tarantino's Django Unchained for just a brief, great cameo, but still, yeah, he was in Django Unchained. Because if you're going to do a Django movie and Franco Nero's available, you better have him in there, regardless of if reboot, retelling, whatever. You got to have Nero in there because that's what he's known for, and those are just wild films, just like this one is. If you watch it, folks, you can see where so many films borrowed from this. And that's what's wild is canon gets the bad rep and everything, or just a cheesy rep. It's still set off the ninja craze, which eventually launched to the American Ninjas, launched your spin-off. I mean, studios picked up on it, indie cinemas picked up on it, bringing, ninjas to the North American audience, and even eventually got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which, as the book says here from Mr. Austin Trunick, he says, the nunchucks that your Ninja Turtle has, if you like him, it's because of this movie that ninja has nunchucks, because ninjas didn't use nunchucks until Enter the Ninja, and then they were everywhere because it wasn't because
Wow.
Bruce Lee used nunchucks, and that's why he wanted them in this film, regardless of whether or not it was accurate to what ninjas actually used. So, yeah, it's final thoughts on it, Ian. Would you recommend people to watch this?
I would. And, it's nice to have that bit of backstory. I still have to get, unfortunately, I still have not picked up the Canon Film Guide. I got to fix that. Maybe for Christmas, it'll show up my stocking. But it's interesting because watching this movie, it's so goofy. But that's only because we've got 40 years of ninja movies and Americanized ninja stories. So I have to kind of like reverse engineer it to think, yeah, this isn't the greatest movie ever. A lot of things came from it and improved upon this formula. But if I'm really watching a Genesis point, it's a fun movie. Also, I wonder if there's a bit of credit that Arnold Schwarzenegger needs to throw Franco Nero's way, or maybe Malcolm Golan, because this scene in the bar where Marianne is having auditions for like plantation hands once Hook and all of his goons run everybody off. It ends with a fight. Cole takes the Hook guy and like forces his hook into a post, and then he says, "Hang around, I'll be back." Now those are two Schwarzenegger lines if I ever heard them. I think he says "I'll be back" twice in this movie.
Yeah, I think.
And this is before. This is 3 years before Terminator. Yeah,
it is. Yeah, it's before Terminator, so. Maybe Arnold did borrow from it, or James Cameron saw this. Oh, I like that. I'll be back. Who knows? But yeah, I think there should give some credit to Franco Nero. You should give a lot of credit to Franco Nero and the rest of Golan and Cannon for what your martial arts films are today in the North American produced martial arts film. Let's specify that. North American produced martial arts film.
Yeah.
And Robert Bond adds this part that I totally agree with and have come across many times, that a number of people did get rooked by Golan. He said Caroline Munro did a film for his 21st Century Films where her voice was dubbed. And they did not pay her what she was contracted to receive, which you will find as you go along through the history of canon. That became more and more of a trend as their surprise popularity dwindled and they started biting off more that they could chew. I still wish I could see their Spider-Man movie, but no more Spider-Man talk. And no more talk tonight. We're going to put a ninja throwing star into Enter the Ninja, folks. Hope you've enjoyed this rambling episode. I'd recommend watching it too. You can see the influences. It's cheesy, it's canon, it's ridiculous, but just for the 13-minute opening action sequence alone, you watch that and you will see where so many films have borrowed just literally from that section of this movie. Yeah, it's fun. So Enter the Ninja, the first of the canon Ninja trilogy, which we use the term very loose. Okay, folks, they are wafer thin connected to one another, but they are all produced by Canon, and we're covering them all. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. And now this is where I give my wonderful crew member the license to shill. So please, sir, shill away.
All right. Well, I'm Ian Simmons. I run Kicking the Seat, which you can find at kickseat.com. It's an audio podcast. There's also a video component, which you can find on YouTube. So just look up Kicking the Seat on YouTube. Do multiple episodes each week, movie reviews, filmmaker interviews. And then on Wednesday nights, we do a live roundtable for Disney Plus Marvel shows. So tomorrow night or this past Wednesday, whenever you're watching it, we're going to be doing Hawk Talk. We have a series talking about the Hawkeye show, and Mark is good enough to drop by and guest on a number of those. So it's a lot of fun. So check it out, 8:30 p.m. Central. And if you like what you see, please like and subscribe. All that good stuff.
All that good stuff. Check it all out. I, have the privilege of being on there. I may actually make tomorrow's show if I'm not passed out cold. So
yeah, definitely get some sleep and then join Hawk Talk if you can.
So yeah, my apologies if I ramble a little bit tonight, folks. But well, I ramble every show. What am I talking about? But just to give my own little plug and license to shill, I literally finished today an interview with an independent filmmaker, Mr. Tim Connery. He did a film that just came out literally today on VOD called The Death to Metal. If you are interested in it at all, it's basically about a priest who goes crazy and kills a bunch of extreme metal heads at a metal concert. So yeah.
All right.
It's called Death to Metal. Tim Connery, I got a chance to interview him. It was a lot of fun. He talks about the film and some other things as well. So look for that soon as well on the podcast channel. And I may put it up onto YouTube, though the video didn't work out too well. So I may just have it as audio on the YouTube, but we'll see what happens. So thank you so much, folks. Stick around. We hope you enjoyed this conversation. We do have our actual official canon fodder pick next week. And yeah, we've got some other things lined up to close out this year. So we appreciate all our new listeners that we have out in, I think I read Denmark, and we've got a few in Venezuela now as well. So we've gone international. We welcome our international audience as well who listens on the channel. Thank you for Robert and Lee and everybody who chimed into our live feed. And now we will just say good night, everyone, and wink. There you go, wink. Franco still did it.